Namaste. Hi everyone. This is Bhushan Sood. I've been a practicing dentist for a longer time. Then my interest, for whatever reasons, I came across certain incidents of my life. So my interest, shifted from dentistry to, finding what is the inner world and what is the meaning of life. All those things, they came to me as well. So I did courses on spirituality by different certifications like clinical hypnotherapy, spiritual healing. I went to the university in south of India as well. So I gained a lot of I would say experience in terms of spirituality, which may be different from others. So then I decided to share whatever experiences I gained in spirituality with you guys through this video. It's going to be a series of small clips. I'll be sharing only small stories so that you can spend a little bit of time to understand. So as the trend is everyone's parents, they want you to be something good in education, like doctors, teachers, lawyers, engineers, whatever. So my parents also pushed me to do higher studies in medicine, in dentistry, like that. So I became a dentist. I did my practice very successfully. I was a very easygoing person, thinking, it's me who did all that, by way of my studies, by way of my practice, by way of my experience. But but I got some kind of different experience in terms of what you call enlightenment. So this series of my talk the title would be Enlightenment My Way. So let me share you one beautiful small incidents which I came across the first time. I was actually posted as a dentist in a small hospital in one hilly state of India called Himachal Pradesh. And the city, the village or the town where I was posted is called Chopal. So there was a very few people from like away outside of that area. The locals would call us outsiders those days, but not anymore. So I was very excited to work in a small village area, thinking I'll be helping the local population with my skills in dentistry. So we had kind of people working in schools, people working in bank, people like me working in the hospitals, and the number was very limited. So because of some language bar, we used to mix around with people from lower, like Punjab, Kangra, and all those areas. So there was not much to do, but the only thing we would do is like go for a longer walk twice a day. So I came across one of the school teachers who was in a way a local Hindi Sanskrit teacher. I think we used to call him Shastriji. I used to, find time. We used to go walk in the evening for a longer time. I don't know, maybe a kilometer, 2 kilometers. And then we'll be gossiping. So just to create some interest in our company, I asked him if he could teach me Sanskrit. He agreed. I learned a bit of Sanskrit from him, but then I asked him what else he knows. He says he knew astrology. I said, what do you do with astrology? He says we can, create a chart, what you call astrological Vedic chart. And through that chart, what you call natal chart, he can find out my future happenings. I was very curious because I was a doctor. I thought the Western medicine is the ultimate. So I asked him to tell me my future. He took few days, he studied my chart, and one day while we were going for the evening walk, he told me that he could, do some research on my chart, and he's come out with some findings. So I was very curious to know. So one of the things that he told me is, he says, in my chart, I'll He said, in my chart, I will not marry within my clan. That used to be the trend in India, still there. Like, for example, if I'm from a Sood clan, we have different denominations within the Soods. So I would traditionally be marrying a girl from my clan. But he says, I will not be marrying within my clan. I was very surprised. I said, why? He says, technically, he told me, he says, in my chart, there are 12 houses, and in my seventh chart, Rahu is there. Rahu is one of the shadowy planets in the cosmos. It's only seen within the Vedic astrology. Western astrology may have some other shadowy planets names like Neptune, Plato, and all those things. So he told me that in my chart, in the seventh house, there's a Rahu placement there, which will take me to an intercaste marriage. I said, okay. And second thing he told me was my wife to be would be a fair complexion, beautiful girl. I said, how do you know that? So he gave me some explanation, which I'm not very clear, but he told me in my 11th chart, Venus is there, which brings a beautiful girl to me as a wife. And he told me another thing with the same composition on seventh house carrying Rahu in that. He says, I will not be settling within my parental city, my family. I'll be settling away from my house. I mean, initially I didn't believe him, but as the happenings took place, in few years later on, I had to believe him that astrology is such a great science, with one mathematical calculation, some permutation and combination, they are able to predict the major happenings in life. So it happened with me. Like later on, I found a girl who was not in my clan, and we decided to get married. I found a beautiful girl as my wife. And the third thing he told me was, I will be settling away from my family. So all my life, I could not settle down in my city, though, some desire was there to settle down. My parental city is in Punjab, a city called Hoshiarpur. So my family wanted me to set up my practice in Hoshiarpur. But anytime I go to find a location, to set my practice, I won't like the city. The city was so small compared to a bigger city like Chandigarh, where I spent, a few years as a fellow in PGI. So these three things happen the way a simple gentleman who's not a very renowned astrologer, he didn't have a very thorough study in astrology. By simple calculations, he could tell me these three things. So now, what do I get out of this? Things happen the way the gentleman told me. So my mind clicks something inside. Oh my God, that means the events happening in future can be predicted through astrology. This is my first enlightenment this way. Thank you very much for listening.